Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Olson. Today is Tuesday, August 27, 2024. We'll call our meeting to order at 8 o'clock a.m. As a reminder, our call-in number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. Very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. So we'll call our meeting to order again and do a roll call for the commissioners. I know Commissioner Scar, you're here, I believe.
Good morning, I'm here.
Yes, and Commissioner Bell. I think she may still be on a little vacation and coming back later this week. So we'll go right ahead and go over to Adventist Health. Eric, are you with us this morning?
I am. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
9 patients in the hospital today. We have 7 surgery cases scheduled. Ambulance crews did 3 911 transports, 1 transfer, no transports home yesterday. There are 94 patients boarding in emergency departments across Oregon, waiting for a bed. That's 13 more than yesterday. We have 349 discharge delays across Oregon. That's 2 more than yesterday. In each of our clinics, we have a RN care coordinator, and I want to tell you about Lynn Noland, who's our RN care coordinator at our clinic in Vernonia. Last week, he was recognized by the city of Vernonia as their Citizen of the Month for the work that he does for the community. And Lynn is a great guy, an excellent nurse, and actually spends time walking the streets of the Vernonia, interacting with all kinds of people throughout the day. And they recognized him as their Citizen of the Month for August, and so we're very proud of Lynn. I think that's a great accomplishment, especially considering that he doesn't even live in Vernonia. He commutes from Gerhardt every day to work in that clinic, but he does a fabulous job. Quick update on dialysis. As we've talked about many times, we rented space in the past for the past 20 years for a dialysis unit. And we continue to work with a company who has interest in coming to Tillamook. I've got another meeting scheduled with them tomorrow. And if we can get everything to line up correctly, hopefully we'll have some dialysis services back in Tillamook County in the very near future. But I'll keep you posted on that one. So unless you've got questions for me, I'll go back on mute.
Well, thank you, Eric. That's good news indeed. Keep up hope and keep the conversation going for sure. I know there are quite a number of people here in the county who are now going elsewhere, meaning outside the county for their service. And if we could get it back here, boy, that'd be great. Any questions for Eric related to the hospital or anything else? Well, thank you, Eric. Then we'll talk with you next week. So let's go to the Coastal Caucus. I know Senator Weber is on. I don't know about Representative Javity, but let's start with you, Senator Weber.
Thank you. Am I unmuted?
You're coming through just fine.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I am really happy to hear that we have made some progress in the dialysis area. It's something because of where we live and the circumstances under which we have to travel that is really necessary to our area. And thank you, Eric, for continuing to go after this. It's appreciated. The other thing I want to do is apologize for not being here last week. I had other meetings and issues that had to be addressed, but I'll try to keep those lapses to a minimum. And I also have to comment on TBCC's building project. I don't know if you've gone past there and seen that they are turning dirt over and making progress on the new building at TBCC. The campus is going to expand, and it's a wonderful opportunity for Tillamook and for our hospital and for nursing especially. And then I also, if we're looking at healthcare, in going up and down the coast, going through Wheeler, seeing the progress on the new health center there is so encouraging. Once that first shovel of dirt was thrown, I mean, they are on it, and we will be seeing a fantastic building up there in the near future. I have to tell you, I've continued to work on the task forces that I am on, the chronic absenteeism, hunger in Oregon, housing insecurity for medically compromised older Oregonians, and substitute teachers. And that has taken a lot of my time. At this point in the year, getting ready for the long session, getting ready for ledge days, most of the discussions have revolved around what have we learned, what are we going to go forward with, what concepts are we vetting for the future so that we can inform the legislature exactly all of the work that we have been doing in those areas. It's challenging to meet a lot of people's ideas and demands to make sure that we are well represented, and the concepts that we're going to be going forward with are going to be concepts that are not going to be injurious to large segments of our population, that they are something that we can, in fact, accomplish. On a lighter note, I was able to participate in the Salmonberry Trail event at the Red Barn, and it's interesting to see. I think we've been working on this since 05, 06, 07 in that area, that we are constantly still moving forward with this wonderful concept of the Salmonberry Trail. And to see the people that are invested in it, moving it forward, is I can't imagine. This is going to be a wonderful opportunity for recreation and connecting the coast with the valley also. There was a meeting with the West Coast seafood processors and to specifically discuss parts affected by the DEQ seafood water discharge permits. And this is something that our seafood processors are working on constantly to make sure that the effluent that is released is going to meet the requirements of DEQ and not in any way harm our environment. And so it's a concerted effort up and down the coast to make sure that the industry is doing the best it can, especially for the environment. I was able to spend time in Manzanita discussing some of the coastal community challenges. And I also, in talking about that, you know, we have a lot of water here, don't we? We get it all winter long. We get it all spring. We get it off and on in the summertime, and then fall comes, and then we're hit again. And what we hear with the Water Caucus is that the conditions for water security are different on the coast than they are on the eastern part of the state. But we have to remember that our water issues are just as important as the rest of the state, even though we have what seems a dearth of the substance. We can go to drought faster than most of the parts of eastern Oregon. And so we have to remember that water conservation especially is very important, even though we seem like we have it everywhere. A lot of our wells are shallow wells, but a lot of our wells along the coast can also be salinated. And so getting that fresh drinking water, that fresh water that's going to be able to sustain us, is every bit as important and every bit as tenuous as the water issues that there are in Eastern Oregon. So we have to remember that. I also have been meeting with AARP and with Oregon Right to Life. They have legislative concepts that they're hoping to bring forward, and they are taking their time to educate legislators as to what they feel would be issues that need to be brought forward legislatively. And there are some interesting concepts coming forward, especially revolving around ageism and protecting older workers, especially now since we have people, because of the economic conditions, that have needed to go back to work. We need to especially work to make sure that they are secure and they are able to go back to work safely and not have to worry about their job. So anyway, that's one thing. Constituents are continuing to have challenges navigating government. Government is big and we all have issues, and we are very happy to be able to help people, especially with issues regarding employment. There are some issues with the apps that are used that need to be worked out so that people can get those unemployment benefits. And it seems like it's taking forever to get these things worked out. And, to the people who are needing that additional money to be able to survive, it is forever. And so I just want you to know that we are continuing to work on those things. I've talked to you about Measure 118. I'm not telling you how to vote on this. That is your own decision. But we have other measures on the November ballot that you need to continually educate yourself about. There's 115 that talks about impeachment of statewide elected officials. There's Measure 116 that establishes independent public service compensation commission to look at the salaries in state government, legislative especially. There's Measure 117 that gives voters rank preference in voting. Read up on that. Look at what Portland is going through right now with the election that they're facing. Then, of course, there's 118, and then there's 119. And that one talks about a permit to operate a cannabis business and unions, which is really interesting also. But what I challenge you to do is find out about these things. When election time comes, I get a lot of calls, and people say, who's the best one to vote for? What is the best issue to vote for? Should I vote yes? Should I vote no? I think we have a responsibility to find out before that election comes and before those voter pamphlets come as to what is actually happening and what are the ramifications of your vote, especially. So with that, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. But thank you for the opportunity to be able to meet with you.
Well, thank you, Senator. As usual, a very comprehensive report. Are there any questions for our good Senator Weber? Well, I don't hear any. I'll just mention I was up in Manzanita area last week as well, and I noticed that big construction project on the south end of Wheeler. I think it's right next to Highway 101. And that's going to be a big deal for all the people who live up there. And of course, we all know our population in Tillamook County is a little bit older than the average across Oregon. And that means that many of us require a little more medical care, maybe a little more frequently than others. And so to have a comprehensive clinic nearby is a good thing. I just don't see any downside at all for that, except, of course, it costs some money. But by the same token, you need medical services and you need to get them where it's most convenient. So we'll move along. Yes, go ahead.
We also have to recognize that the voters in North Tillamook County have contributed to that health center. And with all of the problems that we have, the lines we see at our pharmacies, the issues that we have with our pharmacy, people providing this, another pharmacy in Tillamook County is going to be a gift to us.
I would agree, Senator, and I know there was some conversation down here. Commissioner Scar, you've been following the pharmacy thing in Tillamook. Could you add anything to what's going on in this part of the county?
Sure. So here in Central County, we continue to work on a relationship with a private pharmacy that will come in and work underneath our health department. We are in the process of securing a location for that pharmacy. Once we secure that location, we expect that we will be able to begin to move forward. They will, of course, have to remodel the location and prepare it. So we are still a few months out before that would come online, but county health department continues to work toward bringing that additional pharmacy here.
Well, thank you. That's good to know as well. So, Senator Weber, anything else for us?
No, I'm just really happy to hear that. Thank you, Commissioner Scar.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the good work of our director in that department, Marlene Putman. So you can always count on her when something is needed to jump in and figure out how we can fill a gap in the community. So big thanks to Marlene and her team.
Good. Well, thanks to all. Representative Javity, are you with us this morning? Well, I don't see his number. I don't hear him. So if he can come aboard later on, we'll certainly squeeze him in. So let's go over to our health department. Ed, or is anyone on from the health department this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Commissioner. It's Ed Colson with the health department.
Morning.
Good morning, Tillamook County. So for our health department update, to start off, the FDA has approved the updated COVID-19 vaccines to better protect against the currently circulating variants. They could be available in Oregon in the coming weeks. Vaccines are still highly recommended for preventing illness and hospitalization from COVID-19. So please watch for announcements in September of local availability of the new vaccine or check with your healthcare provider. Now, Oregon, like the whole United States, is experiencing a late summer wave of COVID-19 cases, which does follow a similar pattern from previous summers since the pandemic began. Current CDC guidance is if you test positive for COVID-19 is to stay at home until you have not had a fever for 24 hours without using fever-reducing medication and other COVID-19 symptoms are improving. Avoid contact with high-risk individuals like people who live in congregate care settings or people with immunocompromising conditions for 10 days. Mask up when you are around other people in the 10 days after you become sick or test positive. Our COVID-19 home tests are still considered reliable at detecting even the latest variants of COVID infections. Free tests are still available to pick up at our Tillamook County Community Health Clinic's front desk and at all Tillamook County public libraries. Now, I know maybe some of our listeners aren't looking forward to this, but school does start next week. So if you have a child that still needs a sports physical, give us a call as soon as possible. With our Wellness Incentive Program, get a wellness exam at Tillamook County Community Health Centers between now and December 31st, 2024, and receive a free gift card. After your wellness visit, ages 3 through 6 will be mailed a $15 gift card. Ages 7 and up will be mailed a $25 gift card. These wellness exams may include a physical exam, sports physical, immunizations, in-clinic testing, or dental, hearing, nutrition, and or vision screening and are at no cost to you, as insurance will be billed if you are insured. Schedule an appointment to live well and be well today, 503-842-3938. Now, we're still in August. August is National Civility Month. Any time is a great time to focus on treating others with kindness and respect. National Civility Month encourages us to reflect on our behavior and communication styles, keeping in mind best practices for treating others, from family members to strangers, with dignity and respect for a kinder, more peaceful world. And lastly, a couple of events that are coming up this Wednesday, tomorrow, August 28th. International Overdose Awareness Day from 4 to 7 at the Blue Heron. The first 100 attendees receive a free dinner. There will be various community partners sharing resources, and people of all ages are welcome for food, community connection, healing, and more. For event details, please see the event that's shared on our Facebook page. And as a reminder, Tillamook County Community Health Center offices and clinics will be closed on Monday, Labor Day, September 2nd. And that's our update. We'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ed. Any questions for Ed regarding the health department? I don't hear any, so let's go to Nehalem Bay Health Center. Are you with us, Gail Nelson? Well, I don't hear Gail, so we'll get her in if she does join later. So family counseling, Frank Hanna-Williams.
Good morning, Commissioners. Frank Hanna-Williams, Director, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. If should you have concerns regarding any of our programs, appointments, you can reach us at 503-842-8201, or you can also reach us at 1-800-962-2851. Just like to highlight a couple of events. We will be involved in doing some tabling and some other information sharing at the Overdose Awareness Day event at the Blue Heron on Wednesday. If you see our prevention coordinator there, Sarah Ermer, she will be there and have information and supporting and in support of Overdose Awareness Day. She will also be at the Tillamook Farmers Market on Saturday, the 31st, also doing some tabling and prevention information. We're poised to begin to communicate to the community about suicide prevention awareness for the month of September, and we'll be bringing some information to you and at a number of events, and also information on our website and other social media posts. I think that's about it for the moment, and I will take any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Frank. Any questions for Frank? Well, I don't hear any. So next up is emergency management. And I did get a message this morning that Randy is not available today. And so we'll skip over him and no doubt hear from him next week. So that takes us down to the Board of Commissioners. And so I'll ask Commissioner Scar to give us an update.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to follow up on a couple of things that Senator Weber brought up because they're great topics. Salmonberry Trail is the first one. So there are two organizations that work on the Salmonberry Trail directly. One of them is the Salmonberry Trail Intergovernmental Agency, and that includes the Department of State Parks, Department of Forestry, Tillamook County, Washington County, and the tribes. So that group is specifically the government body that holds the lease for the trail and does some very sort of high-level visioning work for the trail. But I think what's really exciting is that in order to build the trail, that organization realized, as these large government agencies, we just couldn't be nimble enough to actually build the trail in a reasonable amount of time. So they created the Salmonberry Trail Foundation. And the Salmonberry Trail Foundation is a nonprofit organization that is a supporting organization to the government bodies, and it has taken on the work of raising the funds and building the trail. So I was unable to attend the event that Senator Weber attended. I was traveling back from the East Coast that day, so I really appreciate her being there and her speaking at the event, just really helping to generate the energy around this project. But there's a lot of energy and a lot of possibility to get involved if people would like to do that. So what I wanted to share is a couple quick things. The Salmonberry Trail Foundation's mission, which we recently redid, and for transparency, I sit on both groups, the government group and the foundation. But our mission is to build Oregon's 82-mile Salmonberry Trail, connecting us to our history, nature, and each other. So that's a pretty audacious mission, that we're going to build the Oregon's 82-mile Salmonberry Trail. But that's what there is for this group to do, and how we will know when our mission is accomplished is the trail will stretch from Tillamook to Banks and be passable on all areas. So very exciting. Also very large and can seem a little overwhelming. So we set a goal for 2024 through 2026, and that is to complete phase 1 of the Salmonberry Trail's priority projects, which will be to build 8.4 miles of the trail, 7 miles in Washington County and 1.4 in Tillamook County. We will raise $5.7 million to do this trail building. Again, audacious goals, but ones that we think are achievable. So I wanted to share all of this because we won't do this without a lot of really strong public participation. And we want to invite everyone to get involved. And that's what that event was about, that Senator Weber spoke about. It was a place to come and learn more. More events will follow. But I also want to share that there are some upcoming hikes on the trail, some of them here in Tillamook County and some of them in Washington County. But it is a way that you can join the leadership of this organization, learn more, and find out if there is a place and a space for you to get involved. So if you go to the Salmonberry Trail Foundation's website, which is very simply salmonberrytrail.org, and click on the upcoming guided hikes tab, it will take you to a listing of all of the upcoming hikes and where you can sign up for them. So there is one tomorrow at 10 a.m. taking off from the Wheeler train station. There is another one taking off from the Wheeler train station at 1:30 tomorrow. The first one is a shorter hike. The second one is a longer hike. And then there are 3 hikes set up for the Washington County side, and I won't give you all the dates and times, but you can get those off the webpage. But I just want to let everybody know there are great ways to get involved in this work, and we're really excited to bring Tillamook County's population to the table to join us and really get some good stuff done. So that's Salmonberry Trail, and you can always reach out to me if you have questions, if you want to get involved, if you can't figure out what the website was since I whipped it off really quickly here. Just reach out to me. I'm happy to talk with anybody about the trail. Okay, the second thing I wanted to follow up on that Senator Weber brought up was ranked choice voting. This is definitely an interesting and new concept for us, and you will be asked to vote on it. And what I wanted to share is simply that we had a presentation from our local clerk, Christine Neiseth, at our commissioner meeting on July 3rd. It was right at the beginning of our meeting. She gave a great presentation that was just explanatory. Again, nobody's trying to tell you whether you should or how you should vote, but it's some good information that breaks it down and keeps it really simple. So you can view that meeting in a couple of places. One of them is to go to Jane Scott Video Productions and go to her on-demand meetings, and you can find the recording of that July 3rd meeting. And again, it's right at the beginning of the meeting. It was a presentation before we launched into our full agenda. You can also go to the Board of Commissioners website, and you can go to our meetings and minutes tab, and you can look at that meeting from July 3rd there as well. But again, it was a great presentation, just really broke it down into simple terms that are easy to understand. And I invite everyone to educate yourself on ranked choice voting as that comes closer on the ballot. And that's a great way to hear from someone that you know and trust in Tillamook County to talk about ranked choice voting. Okay, other things I have been up to lately, we have the Forest Trust Land Advisory Council, which is a body that provides advice to the Board of Forestry and the State Forester. We talk a lot about what's happening there. There is a meeting coming up with the Board of Forestry on September 5th at 1 p.m., where we, as representatives of the counties, will be having a 2-hour conversation directly with the Board of Forestry on what are we looking for in terms of goals in the new forest management plan that will underlie the habitat conservation plan. So you've heard us talk a lot about the HCP. That is moving forward. That is now in the hands of the federal government for approval. Now it's time to build the structures locally underneath that habitat conservation plan that will guide how the forest is managed. And that is guidance that comes from the Board of Forestry, and we have the opportunity to advise them. So if you're interested in that, you can tune in to the Board of Forestry's YouTube channel and watch that meeting. If you would like to make public comment, you need to register for that ahead of time, and they will give you a different link, I believe, to be able to do that. You can find all of that on the Board of Forestry webpage. So that is coming up again September 5th at 1 o'clock for anyone who is interested in sort of what happens next. Now that the HCP is rolling forward, what are the local decisions we are making about how to set up harvest and conservation both in the forest? I'm going to touch briefly on the biological opinion. There's a lot of things happening. I think many of you are familiar with the biological opinion. It was comes from a lawsuit back in 2013 relating to the protection of habitat for ESA listed species. And in Tillamook County, the big one is our coho salmon. And what's happening is FEMA, who is responsible for the implementation of that biological opinion, has stepped up the timeline significantly. And you all may have talked about this in the last couple of weeks, but I'm going to just highlight it again. FEMA has let us know that by December 1st, we need to adopt changes to our land use code in order to meet their requirements, or we will not be able to develop in floodplains until that work is done. There's a lot of pushback happening both from the county, from the state, from our federal elected officials to say that's not enough time. We need more time to be able to just adopt the land use changes that will be required. So we are pushing hard. For those who are wondering, what is the county doing about this? We are pushing as hard as we can. We are also a strong partner in the Oregonians for Floodplain Protection, which is a group that has the possibility, if needed, of engaging in a legal way. So there is a lot happening behind the scenes to try to really help FEMA understand why what they've proposed simply can't be done in the timeline that's proposed. More to come. We will have Sarah Absher providing a presentation to the Board of Commissioners soon, which will then be a recorded presentation that we can refer you to for more specific details. But the biological opinion is bearing down on us hard and fast, and can have some very significant impacts on our economy, it just on folks' ability to develop their own private property in the floodplain. So more to come on that as that develops. The last thing is just an interesting fact. I get employment data from the state every month or so, and this is just this month's unemployment data. So for July in Tillamook County, our unemployment rate was 3.9%, which is the same as June, so it was unchanged. Statewide unemployment was 4.1%, and nationally unemployment was 4.3%. So Tillamook County continues to have a low unemployment rate, which is fabulous, and certainly what we expect through the summer months. So that's my factoid of the day. With that, I will return it back to you, Commissioner Olson. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Scar. Yes, I get that unemployment data as well. And for some time, Tillamook County is doing a little better than the state of Oregon and maybe across the nation. You're quite right. And that's encouraging because there have been times when it was not so. So we are. With respect to the biological opinion, I've been getting a few emails too, and the way I've been responding, at least for my part, I don't claim a lot of expertise, and I'm waiting for a full update from Sarah Absher, our Community Development Director. And I think after that, we can all speak to it with a little more certainty or a little more information. But it is a big deal, and people are concerned. There's a lot of eyes on it, and it will certainly change, depending on your opinion, for the worse or for the better, or maybe it won't affect you at all, but it certainly is going to affect a lot of people here in Tillamook County. So much more to come on that. It's a very complex issue. It's been on the radar for quite a number of years, and I think there's a major decision point ahead of us. So we'll be dealing with that. So for my part, just a couple of quick items. I happened to attend a high school class reunion of mine last weekend. And I won't tell you how many years it's been, but it's been a while. And our class was about 84, and I think about 25% of them are no longer with us. But we had a really, really good turnout, and we had some of the neighboring years, like a couple of years earlier and a couple of years later, and managed to get about 75 people or so there, including spouses. And I guess my message is I went through a pretty small school up in Hood River back then that was fewer than maybe 400 kids for all 4 years. And I'm thinking, there'll be others of you listening who will be invited to a reunion, and I would encourage you to go. It just was absolutely enlightening because when you get to a certain point, it doesn't matter who did this and who did that and who made the most money and who had the most prestigious position and all of those things. It's just the fact that you're there and standing up straight and can talk to people and recall some really good times. It's a good thing. So I'd encourage people to go. And here in Tillamook County, our 3 high schools are really all pretty small, and I would suspect that nearly everybody knows almost everybody else. And so at some point in the future, if you have an opportunity to reconnect, it's a good deal because a lot of places can't do that. If you happen to go to a large high school with, 1,000 or more kids in your class, it's hard to know very many people, and maybe you kind of lose interest. But if you're from a small one like Neahkahnie, Nestucca, or even Tillamook, and a few years out, you decide to have a reunion, boy, I think it's a good thing. You ought to find time to go because it's a wonderful way to spend a day or two. So that's my advice for all of us who went to high school, which is most of us. Second thing I'll mention, our work on the budget long term is still continuing, and we'll be meeting again in early September. And we have 4 groups that are working on our situation of revenue equaling expenditures. And the first group is dealing with various employee issues that might be related to unions or other matters on whether we could change what they do and how they do it, or hours and all those kinds of things, including a shortened workday and so on. So that's the first group, and they'll be reporting back some recommendations. The second group is looking at some revenue enhancements, or what could be done either to reduce expenditures or increase revenue from one source or another. The third group is looking at maybe a bit of longer term challenges that might involve the Oregon legislature or voters or otherwise something that just can't be done by the commission. Here in Tillamook County, it would require outside influences of the legislature or other bodies, but perhaps that needs to be an option as well, even though it might take longer. And then the last group is looking at our operations and basically everything else. In other words, if we need some new HVAC equipment, should that be a priority or could that be deferred? Things that we look at routinely, but we're doing it in a more organized fashion. So we have all our leadership team, our management staff and others broken into these groups and digging into these in some depth because we're going to have to make some serious decisions over the next 2 or 3 months because we need to come up with about $450,000 out of this year's general fund, and that's probably doable without a great deal of effort. Next year, which the budget season starts after the first of the year, it's something over $2 million, and that's a pretty large number. So it's going to get serious as we get into this, and there'll be probably some decisions made that some people won't like. But the simple truth is you can only spend the money you have, and if revenue sources are not keeping pace with expenses and other costs and inflation, we'll deal with that. So more to come on that as we move along. The only other thing I would mention, we're continuing now on our effort to talk about our radio bond for public safety radios that is now on the ballot. Some of the language that we're using is being reviewed by the Secretary of State to make sure there are no errors and that they approve the statements as being factual and current. And when that comes back, then you'll hear more from us. So more to come on that one as well. And then finally, later, right after this meeting, I'll be over at Tillamook PUD for our monthly Tillamook Lightwave meeting. We haven't talked about that much, but things are moving forward. We have a planning grant that we've received, and we're be submitting for some part of the larger segment of money, or some just under $700 million that's come to the state of Oregon from the federal government, and we intend to compete for our share, and we'll talk about projects something in the $20 million range, and hope we get some funding to take care of that. So more to come on that one. So with that, I'll just keep going and go on now to the city of Manzanita. Do we have Mayor Stock or someone from Manzanita?
Mayor Stock is here, Commissioner Olson. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you and good morning.
Thanks. I've got just a couple updates for our city this morning. And as always, I'd like to thank everyone on the call. It's quite a good source of information for what's going on from a number of angles in the county. And I always appreciate that. So thank you. First thing is, I'd say our City Hall project is running smoothly, which is gives us all great pleasure. Foundation's complete and framing is starting to go up, so it'll be more visible work to just regular folks like us going by and looking at the building. So that's nice. We're on time and under budget at this point, so you always knock on wood after you make that statement, but so far things are going really well. The second item I'd like to talk about is our comprehensive planning efforts. I've spoken about that on this call a few times in the past. We have about 2 years worth of work ahead of us, the way that we've organized it. We'll be beginning with housing as the first item of business, and we've got a lot of work to do on that in the next year, and we're really excited that the momentum is getting built for that. Next Monday, we'll be doing a briefing meeting with our entire planning commission on what that work will look like, and the role of the planning commission in that work going forward. Our committee of volunteers who signed up to be part of our public outreach planning are on board now and have had a couple of meetings and are starting to get to work. The outcome of that work will be a really good plan and lots of effort put into community engagement. So that, of course, is the underpinning of everything, is to have as many voices and all the voices in our community represented. So they are very enthusiastic. We've met with them a couple of times now, and that's great. Thirdly, we are very happy to have our new operations manager in Public Works on board and beginning work this week. So it's nice to be back at full staff. We all know the feeling of being at full staff as opposed to being looking in a state of looking for people. So that's terrific, and I'm looking forward to his efforts. And yeah, that's it for Manzanita, and thanks to everyone.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Good to hear from you this morning. Let's go down to Nehalem. Anyone from the city of Nehalem? How about Wheeler? No one there. Rockaway Beach, we usually have Mayor McNeely. Are you there this morning, Mayor?
Mayor McNeely is here. Did I get myself off mute?
All right, thank you and welcome.
Good morning. Just a couple of things. Public Works, always busy. Repaired the infrastructure that maintains water pressure for residents in Pacific View Estates. Given its elevation, its gravity is not our friend, and it's a relatively complex infrastructure. But the good news is, given the nature of the infrastructure, residents did not experience a reduction in pressure during the failure of part of the mechanisms there, but it's all fixed and up and running again. Secondly, Public Works installed 100 feet of culvert near Juniper Street to improve stormwater drainage. And then my third and last item is about our Wayside improvement project back in 2012. When we did that, folks could donate to the project and have something of their choice inscribed on a brick, and the brick was placed at the Wayside. Unfortunately, the coast weather was not kind to the inscriptions, and they faded away. So last week, Public Works installed a sign at the entrance to the wayside with all the inscriptions listed. I'm confident that this is going to last and weather our storms. And so next time you're in Rockaway Beach, please check out the sign and read the inscriptions. They're quite inspiring and moving. With that, I'll give it back to you, Commissioner.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I'll ask you a question. A few weeks ago, a longtime friend of mine was in town from out of state, and so we had dinner with the family in Rockaway with some really wonderful fish and chips, one of your fine establishments. Do you have any feedback at all on how the tourism season has gone? I know we've got some time left, but here we are almost on Labor Day. So are you hearing good things? Has it been a reasonably good summer for all?
I am hearing good things. I think it's been a good summer from a tourism perspective, and certainly given where I live and walk in Rockaway Beach, I see the downtown commercial district on a daily basis, and it's been hopping. Good.
Well, that's good. That's a major part of our economy here, and of course, some people are unhappy because there's more people and traffic is a little heavier. But the flip side of that is people can still move around in our country, and they also generally leave a few dollars behind and help us provide jobs and get through the slower months. So thank you for that, Mayor. So how about Garibaldi? Anybody on from Garibaldi this morning? Well, I know they've got some new staff at Garibaldi. We'll see if we can get them to get on next week. So let's go down to Bay City. I think I saw somebody in Bay City. Go ahead.
Good morning. This is Leanne Welch from Bay City, Mayor of Bay City. How is everybody today? It's a beautiful
Very
day
well,
here
thank you, and good morning, Mayor.
So we had the Bay City Pearl and Oyster Music Festival this weekend that we hosted, and it was a huge success. I'd like to thank all the volunteers. We had a great group of people that put this event together, and all the vendors that attended. It was just really a success. We had the Bay City Emergency Volunteers that were there all weekend. Our fire department had the water ball. So it was a truly successful event, and I just want to thank everybody and staff of Bay City for putting this together. This morning at 9:30, we have coffee with the mayor. So if you'd like to come have a conversation at Bay City and talk about things that are happening here, that would be great at 9:30 here at Bay City Hall. And it's Labor Day weekend coming up. So I just want to, we're going to have another inflow of visitors. So everybody be safe this weekend on the highways. So that's my report for today. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Good to hear from you as well. So let's jump down to the city of Tillamook and see if our city manager, Nathan George, is on.
Good morning, Commissioner. I apologize. I'm really quite ill. So if I start coughing and you can't understand me, I apologize sincerely. But I did want to make sure I get the right stage.
Okay, then you need to stay across the street from the courthouse.
Oh, don't worry. I am not at work at all. I'm at home.
Oh, all right. Well, then thank you for joining. Go ahead.
You're welcome. First of all, you'll be pleased to know I attended my 30-year high school reunion last year. I'm from Camas, Washington, by Vancouver, across the river from Gresham, so that was a great experience. I had a pretty small class too. In the police department, Chief Troxel attended and assisted with an honor guard training in Beaverton last week. Agencies from the state of Washington, Idaho, and Oregon were all attendants. There were 120 attendees in this training hosted by the Oregon Fallen Badge Association. It's really a great opportunity to help support other police departments and other law enforcement agencies with such a significant issue when we lose officers in preparing for training for that. Officer Fitzgerald attended an Internet Crimes Against Children training last week. This training provides excellent information on the basis of conducting investigation in relation to online activities. This past week, several officers attended a training presented by the Department of Justice. This training is on animal law and investigating crimes against animals. Calls for service and traffic remain busy as usual with summertime activities and visitors. And as Mayor Welch said, we want to be careful, especially with Labor Day weekend coming up. And with school right around the corner as well, please remember to pay close attention to school zones. In our Public Works Department, the Streets and Parks Division staff will continue to water and maintain the hanging flower baskets along Main Street and Pacific Avenue into September. in addition to performing routine maintenance tasks like street sweeping, pothole filling, bioswale maintenance. The Public Works Department announced the street closure starting on Monday, which was yesterday, through Friday this week, August 30th, from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Douglas Avenue between 1st Street and 3rd Street, Meadowlark Lane, and the south end of Grove Avenue and 5th Street. These closures are necessary to facilitate road paving. As sewer laterals are replaced and the city continues collaborating with contractors and homeowners, please be aware of the increased construction activity around town. So if you have any questions, we have our Public Works at tillamook.or.gov email, or you can always call our main line and get our Public Works staff, and you can call our main line after hours and you will get our on-call staff for anything to do with utilities or Public Works issues. The city is hiring for the Deputy City Recorder position and a Public Works Technician position, both with competitive pay and benefits. Please visit our website or stop by City Hall for an application if interested. Last reminder that municipal elections on the city's website are live and will be through today, which is August 23rd, through August 20 at 5:30, which is when we close. Wards 1, 3, 5, and 6 are all open seats. To run for office, the resident must complete the packet found on the city's website, or it can be picked up at City Hall in the office of Deputy City Recorder. If you're interested in running for City Council and you are unsure of which ward you reside in, you can visit the city's website for the map, or you can call City Hall and we'll help you out. And anyone running for City Council can still submit their application until today and pay the $10 fee, but you can no longer submit signatures as of August 13th. Please contact Tammy Heights with any questions. Reminder, if you see something, say something by calling 911 for emergencies and dispatch for non-emergencies. And the next regular council meeting will be held this coming Tuesday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. And that's because of the Labor Day weekend. Whenever we have a holiday and a Monday council meeting, it shifts to Tuesday. So it'll be on Tuesday the 3rd, September 3rd at 7. And we encourage anyone interested to attend virtually or in person. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you for your patience.
Well, thank you, Nathan, and I hope you get better. Maybe take a nap this afternoon and get your strength back. And you sound like you're a little off, but thank you so much for joining us from home. So I'll make a last call for Representative Javity. We didn't get him on the first pass. Representative, are you there at all today? Well, I guess we'll have to wait till next week. So with that, I believe that's it for today. So we're going to thank all of you and thank KTIL for broadcasting and all of you for listening, and we'll be back again next week. Thank you so much. Meeting adjourned.